I am making a Smash-like fighting game, but it is played from a top-down perspective. This video is solely about creating the join screen and features related to it. I originally wanted to include it in the last game flow video, but it took so long and was actually so difficult that I wanted to dedicate a separate video to it. To start, I created the basic join screen with a play button to start the game and exit button to go back to the main menu. I set up a listener to pick up players that want to join. When it does, I added the player device and ID to a simple dictionary and added a UI element to the screen. The color defaults to join order. Now the customization. I had already set up the colors for the UI, but I needed to create more options. I also needed to transport all this data to the arena itself, so let's go over that. I originally created the player object with all the data inside the join screen and just brought it on screen in the arena. But this caused the issues with memory, position, and assigning control to the player. This is the part that kind of broke me, and I needed to take a break for a day. I had many wild ways to try and spawn the player with the correct data without transferring everything manually, but I ended up just biting the bullet and implementing it as follows. I created a specialized data structure, player data. It holds all information a player can customize, like device, color, abilities, and so on. The join screen creates and edits these objects. Once the play button is pressed, all data is stored in the globally loaded game master object and then picked up by the level manager. It spawns the right number of players, assigning controls, and applies customizations. Next, I wanted to be able to preview the player model to select the color. This was more complex than I originally thought it would, since Godot does not allow to just spawn 3D objects inside the UI. So to view the player model, I used a special viewport to generate a 3D world. This world contains just the player model, and through code I can set its color. I also needed to make sure the world was unique between the different menus, or else this would happen. To finish this view, I set the menu color to be less saturated to make the player object pop out more. The most difficult part of this whole join screen was creating the attack menu. I drew a lot of inspiration from the Boople Battle menu screen, but decided to place the buttons in a diamond form to match the controller buttons. First, I created 3 simple icons to represent the attacks I created. These icons are just placeholders until I create the actual attacks, so I would love to see some attacks and icon suggestions in the comments. But before I could get to creating the UI, I needed to create a global attack list I can use throughout the game. I wanted every part of the game to have access to it, so just a simple array wouldn't do. So I created a new structure, ability data. It contains the ability to spawn, name, and icon. I saved an array of them globally and loaded it as a global variable. Then I created a custom menu to pop up for each player. It sets the ability in the position of the selected button to be the selected ability. Finally, I added the ability icon to the in-game UI to let players know the current abilities. The way I created this design and code, it was relatively easy to add some extra features, so let's go over them. First, I saved the data chosen in the screen for rematches, and even after exiting the game in case players want to change attacks and resume play. In the future, I can also add a score system to the game using this design. Next, I added the ability to select, well, no ability. This can allow for some more challenge for good players and maybe other game modes. Finally, I created a random ability option. It sets your ability randomly from the global list. For now, abilities can appear more than once, but I will soon remove this once I have more abilities in the game. I created this video really close to the previous one, so I didn't have the chance to implement some of the things I've seen in the comments, but don't worry, a bucket ability might come soon. That's it for this video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, it really helps me out. Bye!